And fun fact, Celine Dion's song, Your Love Will Go On, is the first song that I made out with somebody, too. Hey there, I'm Henry Golding, and these are my firsts for NME. First time on stage acting, I was in my first school in Malaysia, and every year we would do a Christmas tale of some sort or a Christmas play. One time it was Scrooge, another it was Alice in Wonderland, but I think the first time was The Wizard of Oz, and I played the wizard. And it pretty much scarred me from the rest of my entire life because I was about 6 years old. I didn't know my lines, and I was berated by my very frustrated teacher, bless her. I suppose like teaching children anything is like hoarding cats. It's almost impossible. So I think she was at the end of her tether or whatever. But I do remember thinking, I am never, ever stepping foot on stage again. The first film that I remember watching, I think it was Hot Shots Part 2. Charlie Sheen in that was phenomenal, but I just remember, like, it was so ridiculous. It was almost like a spoof of Rambo. So I just remember as a kid watching all of this ridiculousness and thinking it was just like real life. But my dad used to come home from work with these pirated VHS tapes. I try not to watch those movies back because you're always disappointed at how terrible they actually are. But in your child's mind, they're the greatest thing since, I don't know, anything. I watched Titanic as my first film ever at the cinema. And I remember because it had an intermission in the middle of it because it was so bloody long. And so I was like, I think I must have been about 12 or 13 years old or something, and my friend's mom took us, me and my friend. And fun fact, Celine Dion's song, Your Love Will Go On, is the first song that I made out with somebody, too. So there's that link. Okay, Ray LaMontagne was the first that I bought his album, I went to watch him at the Royal Alexander, I went to watch him 3 or 4 times afterwards. So it was the first artist I followed and specifically went out of my way to watch. You know, growing up as a kid, it was Limp Bizkit, Papa Roach and things. You know, we were in love with the albums, but I think Ray was the first that I was just in love with that first album, Trouble. Wow, first gig. Possibly, it could have been a Ray LaMontagne gig, but I do specifically remember going with at the time, I was dating my now wife and mother of my child. About 3 months in, we went to the Kooks in Camden, and they were playing at perhaps like a Barfly or something of that manner. And I remember I was like, that album had come out, it was the summer of them sort of exploding. And I bought these tickets for something that we were gonna do sort of in London together. And I was expecting it to be packed, but it was one of those venues that it felt almost half sort of empty, but that was the magic of it. It was such a personal gig, and I love their music so much. I used to work barback for a friend's company when I was sort of living in London, and we used to go. And they used to service all the Bacardi bars at all these big festivals. So I think the first festival that I went to was like Tea in the Park. And then we went to Isle of Wight Festival. But always as as a bar back and just like playing with these rock star sort of barmen, and you know, it was the time of my life. I was like 19, 20 years old and not a care in the world. And I was doing it for fun. Like I actually had a job as a hairdresser. So I would take time off at the hairdressers and work my ass off at the weekends at these festivals for free. I never got paid for it. 14 years old, I was a barber sweep. And that kind of took me on a trajectory of becoming a hairstylist for my sort of formative years. And so that was in the town that I grew up in, Red Hill, a little barbershop called Clippers, which I went to visit literally last weekend. The guy's still there. They moved like 2 doors down the shop. The original shop got eaten up by Costa Coffee, sadly. But they're still there, thriving just around the corner. I'll tell you the first tape I ever bought, and it was such a funny time. Like I reached an age where my mom was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you like a music player," and I was like, "Amazing!" She gets me this like phenomenal Walkman tape player, and it was literally the year before all of those like Walkman CD players came out. So it was literally the last of that generation of like tape players. But I had, I think, 2 tapes. One of them was Ricky Martin, Livin' La Vida Loca, and it was a single. And the next, I think, was like a Mariah Carey tune that my dad gave me from his like collection or something ridiculous. So Livin' La Vida Loca was my tune back then. First tattoo was what we call a bungai brinjal, which is 2 sort of flower heads, which is traditional to my tribe in Malaysia. It's meant to represent a safe passage on journeys. It's meant to bring you home safely. And so it was at a stage you always get them turning of age sort of when you're 18. So I got mine when I was 18. I sent a video message to my wife and baby, explaining I'm missing them, I'll be home soon, and everything's going well, and don't poop on mummy too much. First day of training with Snake Eyes was definitely kind of overwhelming and opened my eyes as to how much we needed to like, how hard we had to work to like bring this story to life. It was very painful going to the toilet that evening, for sure. Your body adapts so quickly. And by the end of the week, you're just craving for more, to be honest with you. Your body like yearns for pushing itself, yearns to sort of like learn all of those sort of techniques and choreography. So you're left wanting more. Go to the cinemas and sort of stand in the back and watch the reactions and listen. It's one of the greatest joys of this business, is being able to bring such a crowd-pleasing movie to people and being able to sort of sit and listen to the reactions, the gasps, the joys, the cries, the get off the screen. You know, everything's sort of welcome. It's those are the moments, you know, especially in LA, we'll get the team in a car and we'll bounce from cinema to cinema just to listen and to soak in everybody's reactions.